Well, what's up, guys? I'm back doing a little video on parts of my journey so far with the LPN nursing program that I'm currently in. I'm enjoying it. It's a struggle because it's a large adaptation to the type of schedule that I normally have. So you end up not getting as much sleep as you think you should. I guess I have a ghost in the house. And it takes a lot of time management, which a lot of people think that they can manage time. Trust me, there's not enough time in a day when you're in school, and that's not even just for nursing. That's for everything. So anybody going to college, my hat's off to them because I definitely understand, especially if it's an accelerated course like the one I happen to be in. Now, I just wanted to go through the classes that I happen to be taking, the subjects, just in case there's anyone out there that actually happen to be interested in taking an LPN program. Now there's a LPN, P is in Paul, and an LVN, which is pretty much V is in Victor, vocational, I believe. Now, depending on what area you're in, it's pretty much the same thing, but there's a little bit of differences. So, depending on your state, you'd want to look that up yourself. But it's pretty much your first step. Well, actually your second step, as far as if you wanted to pursue a career in nursing, and to go into as an RN. Usually a lot of people, they become nurses' aides, and then they go to become an LPN or LVN, depending on area, and then they get their RN. And then many pursue the BSN, bachelor's, and so forth and so on. Now, some of the terminology for people that aren't in the nursing field becomes confusing, and I just want to talk about just the nursing aspect of it, of what I happen to be learning. And I want to show and explain to you some of the things that you might be involved in, or some things that you may need if it's something that you can get in advance, because everybody's on a budget. Sometimes you might not be able to get a loan, and it just depends on life's life. Well, anyway, I started the classes, and it's an accelerated program. Pretty much, it's not even a year. It's pretty much 10 months. 10 months of information that's crammed into your brain that you have no clue about, even if you're in the field, because some things you might be able to relate to and understand, but other things you have no clue, your brain's blown, and you have a test on it that next day. For example, depending on how some schools are, you may learn something Monday, and then learn something Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, however your class is structured. Whatever you learned on Monday, you're getting tested on that next Monday. Whatever you learned on Tuesday, you're getting tested on that next Tuesday. Trust me, with the overload of information that you get, your best bet, if you decide to pursue any type of nursing education, make friends. Make sure if there's extra credit, you do it, because that will help you with points on the test. A good point that's worked for me pretty well is to record the lecture. Teachers have no problem with it, doing it, because they always teach you memory hooks and things like that, and they want to make sure that you pass. One of the simple books that I have here. This is for my program, Calculate with Confidence. It's more so, it's basic math, and then it goes into nursing math, and then it goes into, I don't know if you can see that, see the syringes there. I can't zoom in right now with both hands. But it goes into units, milliliters. That's something that you want to, if you start in a program, look through your books first. Then you at least have an idea. Instead of being blinded and just, bam, smacked in the face. You have another book, Clinical Pharmacology, and this will explain to you many of the topicals, antacids, like just the different drugs that we take for granted on a daily basis. Tylenol, Advil, the simplest things. So once you start to realize why certain drugs do certain things and have adverse reactions once they're mixed with something else, oh, it makes sense. Certain things start to click to you, and you start looking at things a lot different. Especially, I know for me, I've looked at quite a few things. I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna, no, that's not good. But you have to see to understand. You get bombarded with a lot of information. There's a lot of good people, and there's a lot of things for you to learn, and you don't really understand how complex the human body is and all the functionality that's actually involved in learning about the human body. Like, you never really think about it. At least I know I didn't prior, years and years ago, before I got into the medical field. You'd hear about a doctor treating a kid. Oh, that's cool. But then once you understand, oh, they have to do this, they have to monitor this, this drug has this adverse effects. Well, this person has an allergic reaction to this, and they can't use this, and you're like, whoa. That's when you start to realize that medical science and medical miracles are actually miracles, because you'd be surprised of the impossibilities, the things that were considered impossible, that we actually end up making possible just because we were more so focused on other things outside of what we're told. And that statement would probably make a lot more sense to you if you pursued a degree. I have various books, respiratory, digestive. And that's just part of the book. That's not even everything. That's 3 of the books. The Bible, which is what we call it, and this is why. Yeah, I hate this book. It's not that bad, but there's a lot that's involved. It's not as difficult as I'm telling you, but when you're bombarded with a lot of information, like for example, right now it's October 3rd. And let me let you know, according to my syllabus here, some of the things we went over. Military time, you want to make sure you know your military time, because that's how everything's called. That's an issue. Temperature, cultural, topicals, vitals, antifungal, nutrition, let's see, body mechanics, musculoskeletal. Then you have your math quizzes. Then you actually have your skills days. Let's see, nervous system. I can't begin to tell you. And I'm just going over everything fast so I can make the video quick. But put it this way, I just started class July, and I'm doing clinicals next week. First day of clinicals is next week. Clinicals meaning, things I've learned, I'll be using them on live people. So there's a lot of information to take in. Our class happens to be, our programs class happens to be the first that is actually utilizing more so of an online system. And so we're going to be using books, but we're also going to be using a different system as well. So a lot of our information happens to be online. So best believe if you have a little tablet or a laptop, you're going to need to use that because Google Classroom will be your friend, and especially one trick that I've learned with that, whatever you're using in class, if it's something that you can pull up on Google Classroom or whatever system you use, download it to your laptop or your computer, so that way when you're away you don't have to worry about Wi-Fi. Some people can't afford internet at home. Some people have to go elsewhere. While you're at school, download it. That way you can at least study. And a lot of programs let you alter them so you could actually add notes as well. Uh, so whatever notes you happen to be taking in class, you can actually add to the PowerPoint, which will help you study. YouTube is a valuable source as far as different breakdowns of respiratory, digestion, how the brain functions. The there's so much. My brain is actually overloaded just trying to think up everything to explain to you. Now, another thing, especially when you do drug cards, you're gonna get. I don't know if you get. Well, it'll probably be 2017 if you decide to go. But this is the nursing drug handbook. Once you are pretty much knowledgeable to how everything works, the interactions, um, the dosages, the routes, it'll actually start to make sense. And there's a lot of information in here. And what a lot of people don't even pay attention to, they actually have other parts in the book as well that you can pay attention to and learn from. There are a lot of other little things. The glossary that a lot of people don't even realize is there because they're so focused on the task. If you look at everything as a whole, it might make it a little bit easier for you. Even, little terminology, BID, QID, depending on if it's going to be used in your facility or if you're in the hospital, some terminology might be different. So it just all depends. Another thing that for our program, I'll just zoom this in here. Lab notes is also something that, as far as looking through labs, procedures, that's a book that we were recommended to get for our program. If you're going for your LPN or even your RN, I think they have a different version of this book as well. There's an LPN notes as well. So just so you know, there's two books. I'm not doing any trickery here. The LPN notes actually has helped me out a bit. Once you get used to how everything works, you can actually look in and see if I can zoom in now, just so you can see how it gives a breakdown of someone opening up an airway, and it gives you more of an explanation of a lot of the things, from meds to pelvis dilation, IV meds, intermuscular, subcutaneous. If you can see that here, see at the top, what angles each need to be given. So this book, if you happen to see it, and I actually got this off of eBay, and I think it was $15-20. It's waterproof. You can write on it, and you can even add a in the front sticky notes if you wanted to. I added a small one. I didn't have a big sticky pad, but this is something you can look at too. So when you are doing your clinicals, you can carry one or the other. This one actually even has labs in it, which actually has its own lab section. General chemistry. I mean, you can look through it in your own time, of course, considering you don't want to upset anyone for going outside your books. But if you have the right teachers, your teacher's going to say, you Google, you use Encyclopedia Britannica, you learn what you need to learn. Now, I'm trying to make this fast, so I hope I'm not driving you nuts. But I'm also working on less than I've gotten about 3 hours sleep in the past 2 days, so I'm trying. I'm just trying to make sure I stay active with you guys. I don't want you guys thinking I forgot about the channel, so forgive me. Now, actually on Amazon, I don't even know if I've reviewed this. On Amazon, I actually had like a scissors kit. I don't know if you can see that. And this is something that can come in handy as far as nursing, which a few things I've already learned, I've already used actually. And I even got pen light. But this kit actually came with one. It has a plastic sleeve, and it came with one. The difference is in this one, let me zoom in here. This is what came with the kit. Let me see if you can tell. This is how you can tell pupil size, but this one, if you notice, it doesn't have it. Now, why did I get this one? Replaceable battery. This one does not. So I figured by the time I get used to using this one, I'll already know. So using the one with the replaceable battery won't be that much of an issue. But this is the kit. So that's something that I've used a couple times. I know I'll probably use it more in clinicals, depending on if I'm in a hospital, opposed to a long-term care environment. You might need to cut gauze. You might need to cut wafers. If you have someone that happens to have an ileostomy, you might need to cut the diameter out to make it larger, depending on what you may need or the situation. So having something like that with you is always a good thing. Usually in your classes, you'll probably need a blood pressure cuff, where you can get something like this from Rite Aid, CVS, or Walgreens, whatever you have in your area. And a lot of them do come with a stethoscope. Now, me personally, I actually do have a dual stethoscope, which you've probably seen, where they have, it's two of these going down here. And for me personally, I found that it varies for everyone's hearing, so don't take what I'm saying as gospel. But the single actually worked out for me a lot better. And I was actually we were doing skill testing in respiratory. We were doing artificial pulse, and I was able to hear a lot better using single. Now, what I did do, considering when I got tested and passed, I mean, it's easy. Trust me, it's a lot easier when you're doing skills. It's not if you fail this skill, you're done. No, they'll tell you what you did wrong until you get it right. And they'll make sure they give you a shot. So don't get discouraged by by that part. But what happened was, the stethoscope that I happened to be using was dual. Didn't work out well for me, and the teacher said, well, use this one. Not realizing that it was a Littman, if you can see that. So Littman are better quality, and it worked well for me. So I went ahead and used that, and I haven't had any issues. I like it. It's comfortable. Earpieces are good, but when you get to school, they'll have some there that have dual, and it just depends on your hearing. So don't get frustrated if you're not able to hear heartbeats or anything like that. It all works for you. Some people in the class have used cheaper, like $20 pair, $30 pair, and it works totally fine for them. For me, that wasn't the case. Another thing that you definitely will get tested on, among other things, like you saw in my other video with the otoscope and ophthalmoscope, luckily I scored that, and if you remember watching the video, I scored that at the I want to say Salvation Army. Someone was foolish enough to let it go or not need it. You never know. Could have been an old school doctor that passed or whatever the case is. But I actually used this when it came to skills testing for class, and the teacher was actually impressed. I guess, I don't know if it's a model or something she was familiar with, but Welch Allen model 13010 for one. So hey, I don't know. Teacher was just impressed that I even had it, so I'm pretty sure that helped out too. But just so you guys know, it's not easy. You end up going through a lot of stuff. Like I said, next week it's gonna be clinicals. Am I nervous? Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous. But then again, I'm used to working with people, so I'm fine with that. But it's just a lot to it. If everything works out well, I'll be graduating next June or July. That's not a lot of time for you to learn everything that you have to learn. We might be going to pediatrics. We might go to the cardiac floor. We might go to the ER. They said they're going to try to see if we can watch a few births and maybe a few surgeries. So there's a lot to it, and a lot of people that aren't in the medical field, I'm going to go to the doctor. Well, any nurse will tell you, if it wasn't for the nurse, the doctor wouldn't know what the hell he's doing. Because we're the first and only line of defense, kind of like the Men in Black, but nurses, So I just wanted to let you know, give you that little tidbit. I'm going to try to probably put another couple of videos up, some other things I was working on in the background and doing this. And like I said, I apologize, I don't have time, but it's pretty much study, no sleep, and work. But I'm going to get this online as soon as I can. And hopefully you guys want to leave some comments. Tell your friends, like, subscribe, and hopefully you guys stay safe, and thanks for coming by.